It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and the most listened to football guru on the Eyre Peninsula is on the line with us right now. He blew up the internet last week. He's the great man, Chris Prime. How are you, bud?
Yeah, good, Jace. I don't know about a guru, but I try to make some sense.
Well, gee whiz, my mail is there around the EP. They've had to put in all kinds of new fibre to the node and all kinds of things just to try and keep up with people downloading you. You are the man.
Yeah, well, I'll let you talk about that, and I'll just talk about footy.
We're going to talk footy in a moment. First of all, you are the leading goal kicker in the history of country footy. We've talked about it before, and I'll pump your tyres up a little bit more. But I did notice with interest that there was a man over in the Adelaide Plains Football League who kicked his 1,000th goal. Nichols, I think his name is. You know this gentleman?
Look, I don't. But, yeah, look, I think he's the 25th player in the state to make that tally. So, well done, and
it's a good effort.
Good luck for the next 1,000. That is. It does take a little bit of effort over generally a long period of time.
From my understanding, I think he's early 30s, and I could be wrong about this. So if he plays for as long as your good self, who knows? He might be in the shooting game down the track, but 1,000 goals in anyone's language is good going. So well done, young man. And I'm sure he'll be pleased to get the tick of approval from the head honcho, Primey.
Yeah, look, as I said, like if you kick 1,000 goals, you've worked pretty hard. Like, and a lot of guys have done it over 15 years, and you don't kick 100 every year. So you know, that's 50 or 60 a year, and you just keep plodding away.
Yeah,
so that's a fair effort.
It is. All right, let's talk Great Flinders football, and we're going to go back to last weekend's results. Ayr United had the bye. We're going to start with the youngsters, the Mini Colts. Your boys, Tumby Bay, had a good win over Ramblers, 5-5-35, or Ramblers 1-1-7. Did you catch this game, mate?
Oh, look, I caught a bit of it. We got a really good young lineup. We had a couple of our Minis play Colts, so we just let them warm up a bit, and they run around. So, Jeffo's got them rolling pretty well, so good little team.
All right. Well done to them. Elliston and Western Districts, they took on Cummins Kapini Cougars, and it was the Cougars boys too good at this level. They booted 9-8-62. Elliston and Western Districts, 1 goal straight, 6 points. So just a bit too good, Cougars.
Yeah, it was. But before we get into the footy, Jason, I just got to pull you up. Elliston and Western Districts played in the Midwest League 2 years ago. When they formed one club, they became Elliston District. So if we could just work on that on your side a bit, it would be good if we get the radio right.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting, actually. I'm glad you brought that up, Primey, because I'm actually reading the results here off Sporting Pulse, as you know. Now, I think the Sporting Pulse is the official website of SANFL Country Footy, is it not?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's interesting because when they list it as and I'll say and the following, Elliston and Western Districts Football Club. But Elliston Districts is what we're rocking with, mate. That's what we're talking about. Yeah,
look, we are talking Elliston Districts, and yep, right. That's what they are known as, and that's what we'll try and continue with.
All right, Elliston Districts it is, and whoever it is that's running Sporting Pulse, fix that from that end, please. Elliston and Districts is what we want, or Elliston Districts, is what we want to go with. So back to the footy for Elliston Districts. A young Gill was their only goal kicker, and we've got to say well done to Fleming. Another young Tonkin boy coming through. This is good news for Elliston. Davis, Gill and Pickett, and F. Daniel was named best, and I would imagine that's a youngster connected to Wes Daniel, would it not be?
It could be. I'm guessing with the names up there, and I'm guessing with pronouncing some of them as well.
Right, let us know.
Daniels is fine.
Send us an email, catch Primey at the footy, let him know which way. Wes, if that's your youngster or tied up to you somehow, send me an email, news@flowfm.com.au. Now, to finish off with, last match of the Minis in round 2 was United Yolanda and Lock, and it was the Eagles 4-2-26 over the Lock boys, 1-1. So, solid game of footy there.
It was, and like most under-12 games, it's driven a lot by the older kids, and if your young ones can hold their own, that's what generally makes a difference. So,
Let's move to the senior Colts, and we'll start with your boys. I know you were watching on in this one with interest. 15-11-101, too good for Ramblers, 4-5-29. The Tummy boys going beautifully in the senior Colts this year, and you'd be pretty happy with that.
Oh, look, they played well. A couple of older kids just put their hand up and perform, and as I said, that makes a fair bit of difference. So, no, it was a good day. A couple of good young footballers there. I think we had 7 of those under 16s play seniors that same day.
There you go. And you jumped them. They were goalless to half-time, Ramblers, but you kicked 9 goals in the second half. They kicked 4, so it opened up a little bit. Jackson 3, Challenger 3 for you guys, and Allen 3. Richardson, Franks and Challenger named best for you. For Ramblers, Cross, Redden, Parsons, and Langley with their goal kickers. Modra, Clawton, Parsons, Redden named in the best. So good win for Tumby there. We move on to Elliston Districts, who took on Cummins Kapini Cougars, and it was Cougars doing the number here, 18-13-121, Elliston Districts 8-4-52. Good to see a score kicked by Elliston Districts. Might not have got the win, but and they've given up a few, but if you're kicking goals yourself, it's always more fun, I think, Primey.
Oh, it is, and the interesting thing about that is they kicked 9 or 10 goals the week before against us, but to kick 8 and, you know, it makes it a competitive game, and have 18 kicked against you. Well, probably a few things to work on in defence, but I would believe the Cougars boys will be pretty big and strong. So I think it's a good effort to get those on the board.
Anyone with the last name Foster is big and strong. He kicked 4 for Cougars. Gale, Turnbull and Phelps kicked 3. And for Elliston Districts, Newton 3, Fleming 2, Newton, Barker, Jervis and Lapsley Forest named best for the Districts crew. And if we finish off with the last senior around Colts game, it was Lock over the top of the Eagles, 16-12-108 to United Yolanda, 5-5-35. This is a bit of a turn-up, but Lock have obviously got some big boys coming through.
Look, I believe they have, and these two sides have probably struggled over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's good to see one getting a bit stronger. But I would think that, you know, they're always competitive and always battle hard, but just weight of numbers tends to get them over, just let them fall a bit short at times.
For Lock, Durden and Beard booted 4 each. Puree, I think it is how you pronounce that. I've got no idea, to be honest, but booted 3 and another Hetzel. So Beards and Hetzels for Lock getting the job done. That's never happened before, has it?
No, and nearly all the names there you've mentioned in goal kickers and best players are families that continually run through goal kickers and best players through not just the underage footy, but have done so through the seniors as well. So it's good to see the family connection keeping going through the clubs.
Results from the reserves clashes last week. Ramblers took on your Tumby Bay boys, and I think I asked you for 5 goals. Well, the team kicked 5 behinds, but you didn't quite get to 5 goals. 2 goals, 5-17. Ramblers 16-8-104. They gave you a fair old touch-up, Primey.
Look, let's not talk about it. No. Look, Ramblers were way too strong. They got the ball out of the middle, and pretty much where the first 5 minutes was competitive, and that was it. Young blokes in the last quarter probably showed a bit more fitness, but they were just way too strong. Best way to stop a full forward is not let the ball get up there. So,
well, that'll do it.
Worked.
You didn't score in the first half, so clearly you didn't have much to do in the goal square, mate.
No, there wasn't a lot of job opportunity down there, so I got employed elsewhere in the second half.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the Elliston clash, Elliston and Cougars, and this was a surprise because we know how strong Cougars seniors side is, the A-grade side. We'll get to that in a minute, but Elliston Districts 14-9-93, Cougars just the 3 behinds. Not necessarily surprised that Elliston Districts, with their depth, were able to win, but the margin has caught me off guard a little bit, I've got to say. Yeah,
look, this is one of the surprising games. Like, Elliston Districts have a really strong B grade. But Cougars had a great result last week, and whether it's the ebbs and flows of work commitments and that. But, that really did throw me, that one. The Elliston Districts, I thought, might get over the line, but not by that margin.
Cougars goal kickers in this game.
Good of them to get their first win on the board for 2021.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And just going back to that, Cougars goal kickers for this game. Moving on to their best players, Turnbull, Howe, Hazelgrove, Turnbull and Turnbull. Turnbull's galore there. For Elliston Districts, I'd love to tell you who the goal kickers and best players were, but they're not listed, so we can't. I guess we move on. Fair enough. Lock and
I can't tell you either.
Lock and United Yolanda. This was probably the match of the round through all the grades, to be honest. The reserves clash there. Lock 7-10-52 in a thriller over the Eagles 7-7-49. Good game of footy this one, and both of these sides might be around the mark.
Look, I think they will. Like B grade comp's always an interesting comp. It's a lot of the time the young kids coming in make a massive difference, more so than the old heads. Like it's the guys dropping down from A grade, pushing to get back in, and the kids coming up from the under 16s trying to prove they're good enough to play A grade. And that's where the strength is. And obviously Lock under 16s and that have got something to show there. So, good win.
Very good win. Well done, Ty Habner, who kicked a goal as well. For Lock, good to see him still running around in the Resi. Sivia K and Durdinane in their best. For United Yolanda, now there's a couple of names here I've got to talk about. Hancock booted 4. Luke Howie, who comes up from Lincoln and plays for the Eagles. And I reckon this Jay Jenkins has got to be Justin Jenkins, formerly of Tasman's, Boston's and Lincoln South fame. I assume those two are mates. I'm assuming that they've gone up to play footy at the Eagles as well. Their youngsters are good mates, so they might be playing juniors there with the Eagles as well. And tell you what, that's a handy 1-2 punch in the Resis up in the forward line, literally the 1-2 punch.
It is, and people look to where to play footy, and they generally go with their mates. And it's good for the club, and it's actually it's good for the kids to get out and play somewhere else and experience some other footy.
Get over Winters Hill. That's always a good thing for the old poor Lincoln folk, but it's a topic for another day. Moving on to the seniors, the A grade, and interesting round of matches it was. We will start in Cummins, where Ramblers took on Tumby Bay, and they got the best of you in the end, 10-12-72, Tumby Bay 6-2-38. I reckon Tumby have got every right to be a bit disappointed about this result. Ramblers keep on keeping on.
Oh, look, they do, and it was pretty even the first quarter. Ramblers broke away in the second. Young Harvey Pedler kicked 3 or 4 in the first half. And then after half-time, it was pretty even. So one quarter really let Tumby down for the whole day.
Struggled to find a multiple goal kicker, the Blues, but Fair, Calderwood, Laurie and Nankerville named in your best. You mentioned young Pedler for Ramblers, booted 4, Langley 3, and it's good to see some different names as well. Mickey Franklin running around up at Ramblers still, Cox and Pedler. Well, there's not a new name, and Richardson and Harsma, we've seen those names before, but there are a few new ones mixing in there with them at Ramblers.
There is, and Liam Cox actually won the medal up there. He had a good day there for the 4 quarters, so well done.
Yep. Moving on to the other A-grade game, and we're going to look at Elliston Districts in a moment when my computer catches up. Elliston Districts, of course, still searching for their first A-grade win in the competition, and they'll continue to be searching for their first win after Cougars beat them 11-16-82 to Elliston Districts 6-10-46. Very competitive game of football, though. And I think Elliston Districts would be quite happy to hang their hat on that, given that Cougars are one of the flag fancies.
Look, I think they were, and they stayed with them. They're even at quarter time, even at half time. There was only a couple of goals in it, and they battled hard, pretty tight third quarter, and Elliston Districts sort of just dropped off, being about 3 goals behind. And once again, we talked about it last week. That third last quarter just ran out a bit of puff, and Cougars got away a little bit in the end to win by 5 or 6 goals. So, I mean, good, tough game. difference a lot of the time is someone up forward to kick goals, and Yoey Wagner, I think, got away with another 6.
Yeah, indeed he did. So, yeah, Wagner booted 6, and he's on track for the ton, as we know, but there's still a long way to go in a season yet. We won't put the mocker on him just yet. Hazelgrove, Wanda, and Forster named best for Cougars. Elliston District's got to talk young Cody Rosalia, someone who's no stranger to you guys in Great Flinders. I think they're based in Lincoln, the Rosalia clan. Get down to Mitre 10 and you might catch Mum. But he booted 2 goals and was named in their best, and he's a good young footballer, this boy.
Oh, look, he is, and he's very goal smart, but he's also quick around the pack. So he will be a good little footballer. Just got to keep working with him, and no doubt he's got a couple of good blokes up there to look after him. Like with Scotty Feldus and a couple of other blokes that show him a good way.
Wouldn't be a better bloke to show him the ropes than old Fingers there. And Rossi Bascom as well. He's got some class around him. Delahaye Miller knows his way around a football field as well. So all of those guys working with the young man, and he's not that young anymore. I mean, he'd be getting into his 20s now, so he's probably coming into his prime, and he's kicking a few goals and doing a good job. So there's plenty of positives for Elliston Districts. They'll have a bye this week, but I don't think their first win is far away. The last match of last weekend was the United Yolanda boys. They took on Lock, and in a competitive game, they got away with the win fairly comfortably in the end. 16-8-104, Lock 8-9-57, and perhaps the demise of the United Yolanda Football Club may have just been a little bit premature.
Oh, look, we all like to believe it's happening, but I don't think it will in a hurry. Like, they've got a really good nucleus of a side, and you read through the names of the best players, and they're the ones that have been there, and they'll be there for another couple of years, and they'll keep not propping it up, but keep just putting it out there and making us all work hard to get over the top of them.
Exactly right. Casey Carr is a star. He kicked a couple of goals, was named in their best. Havelberg booted 4, Cretton 3 up front. And, of course, the 2 Cretton boys are still wandering around either up forward or in the midfield doing their thing. And Watson was named in their best as well. The 2 Beard boys booted 5 and 3. That's T-Beard, 5. A-Beard booted 3, and they were named in their best as well, along with Morton, Grokey and Brown, and names that we're familiar with for Lock. So they've got a bit of work to do still, the Roos, but around the mark, a good competitive game of footy priming.
Oh, look, and once again, Lock normally aren't a strong starter for the season. Like, they're quite physical when you play them. I always used to think they were the hardest games to play. Against Lock, you come home pretty sore, so the Atlanta boys you really know they played a game of footy Saturday.
Yeah. All right, before we move on to this round of matches, and we'll get some tips going in the A grade, and there's only 2 games of A grade to talk about this week. I'll explain more in a moment. I wanted to talk to you about the situation in Great Flinders with the bye. We know that there are some clubs struggling. I want to get your thoughts on this. If you've got a situation this week where 3 clubs have the bye, and that's a fantastic situation for some old bodies. The blokes get to have a rest. But for the youngsters who might want to be playing every week where possible, is there an opportunity to help prop up, struggling reserves teams or junior teams just to make sure we get competitive games? Do you think there's an opportunity that the league could perhaps open up a permit system, so to speak, to just help out those clubs that are scheduled to play but may be struggling?
Oh, look, I reckon it'd be really good. When I played Mason there 100 years ago, we did the same thing, and like you could have 3 or 4 players from the side with the bye just to help out the struggling teams. You don't want A graders to come down and play B grade. You want B graders to help out the other B grade, or under 16s to help out the other under 16 sides. And the easier we make it, like at the end of the day, we want like 2 competitive sides out in the oval, and there'll be some sides go, well, hold it, it might change how the table goes, or it might cause one side to win where maybe they wouldn't. At the end of the day, I think it works out. Like the whole idea of country footy is to get a game of footy.
Yep.
And if it means getting a game of under 16s where we've got 18 a side, or B grade where we've got 18 a side, I don't think it can be a bad thing.
No, I don't think so either. Obviously, forging some friendships in other clubs outside of your own is not a bad thing either. And if you get a situation where, and I'm talking hypothetically here because I don't know what the junior numbers are like at any of these clubs, but hypothetically, let's say Ramblers was struggling for numbers in the mini Colts and Elliston Districts have plenty of numbers. Well, guess what? Elliston Districts have the bye this week. They've got a couple of youngsters that maybe want to go and have a game for Ramblers. Who knows? They might stay there just as to even things up long term. They get to meet a few people and have a kick. And at the end of the day, it's all about the development of these youngsters and making sure everyone gets a kick when they want one, right?
It is. And, I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you generally just want to have a kick of the footy. Like, B grade, we just want to get out there and have, a competitive game. Under 16, you just want a competitive game.
Yeah.
If that means other players have come in from outside the league or other clubs to do that, well, it just means that it tests your side a bit more and you find out where you're at. So I don't think it's a bad thing, however it works.
It's an interesting talking point because I can understand the other side of it as well. You lose the integrity of results and ladders and finals positions and all of that. I do understand that side of it, but at the end of the day, I think it's always important to keep the integrity in your senior most competition, your A grade. You've got to have pretty strict rules around player eligibility and whatnot for that, but. Outside of that, really, it is about participation. I would have thought number one over winning. However, it's easy to say that when you're actually running around in a reserves competition or a senior Colts competition or a mini Colts competition. You obviously want to win and be the best, Primey. So I don't want to lecture people on that, but you get my point, I think.
You do, and I guess the hard thing is when you get the under 16s and under 12s, like you get the kids come across and they're in their last year. It just makes those sides a little bit stronger because you got an extra older kid. But yeah, as I said, it generally works out in the wash-up. Like over the 14 rounds, I don't think it will make a massive difference to the end results.
Yeah, fair call. All right, so this weekend's round of matches, both Elliston Districts and Tumby Bay have the bye, along with Cummins Kipini. This is one of those rounds where three clubs having a bye enacted just to even things up towards the end of the year. That means there's only two fixtures for us to talk about, mate. We'll start at Carcoo, where the Eagles will take on Ramblers. So United Yolanda welcome Ramblers to town. This should be a belter of a game in the A grade.
It will be. It's sort of a bit of the young and the old. Like Ramblers probably put out one of their youngest teams A grade wise that I can recall. If you took a couple of peddler boys out, that is.
Yep.
But yeah, look, they play some good footy. But what you'll get with younger men playing footy is like sometimes a little bit of inconsistency, and it'll be a pretty big challenge against the Eagles. Just that bit more awareness around the ball and strength, and that I think we'll see Yolanda get over the line.
Yeah, I think so too. The other A-grade clash will be at Ungara, where your neighbours, Air United, will host Lock. Now, this should be an interesting game as well. I think Lock will win, and probably fairly comfortably, but how competitive the Saints will be this year, I reckon we'll get some sort of an insight into that during this game. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think Lock probably got a little bit too much up forward and they'll bother the Saints there. I think once again, Air United will start in the game for probably half, 3/4, and then Lock will just come over the top that last little bit.
Yeah, the Beard boys up front are going to be tough to deal with. Billy Brown is a gun as well, so they've got some top-end talent that might be a bit too much for the Saints to handle. They are the two senior clashes of this weekend in Great Flinders football. Primey, you get to put the feet up this week. Are you going to go and watch any footy, or are you just going to have the week completely off?
I am going to put my feet up, relax, maybe ice my legs so I might be able to play another game somewhere along the line.
You might need to buy every second week, mate. Good on you, Primey. Always great catching up for a chat. We'll do it again next week, and enjoy the weekend off, mate.
Mate, as long as I don't have to playing the midfield again, I'll be right.
Yeah, well, whoever it was that made the plan to put you in the midfield, mate, you pull rank on them, all right, next time. We don't want any more of that.
That's where the game... I looked at the board and I thought, my magnet slipped.
Good on you, Primey. We'll leave it there, mate. We'll catch you next week.
Cheers. See ya.